Okay, so vitamins are mostly yellow things, yellow nutrients. But vitamin C is an orange one. And it could even be argued that it's red, actually, as well. But it's because of the way that it works. Because one of the things it does, and this is jumping a couple of down the page a bit, is vitamin C is a very good antioxidant. In other words, it mops up the stuff that you want to get rid of and you need to pass out of the body. And so it has that orange quality of getting rid of toxins. Now, there's vitamin C and there's vitamin C. Now, it's and this is one of the issues with a lot of media stuff going on at the moment, and, having a good diet. The thing is, when they measure what's in food these days, of course they usually measure what's in food that's been freshly picked. Exactly. Then it comes to the question is, how long has food been on the shelf when you buy it? It's like, I love asparagus, but I am not sure about the fact that most asparagus these days comes in from Peru.
Yeah, I don't buy
I'm really, part of me thinks, you should be supporting the Peruvian farmers. Another thing is, it's been flown all that dirt, what the hell nutritional value has my asparagus got? So I tend to just only eat when I can get hold of British.
Well, it's a cash crop for them, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
so they don't actually get benefit from it. It's the companies that...
I don't know. But, there's this whole issue of fair trade.
Yeah.
Fair trade, the whole thing, whether it's coffee or whatever, when it's fresh veg and fruit veg, is like what's going on. And it's like, I think I told you last time we met, I've got a client that I'm still seeing who's got an issue with starch. She has an amylase problem. And we were talking on the phone on Tuesday about this. And she was saying that what she found was she was advised to eat, I think it was beans or peas or something like that. But what she found was that the ones that she bought had been picked before they were ripe. And so the starches hadn't turned into sugars. So when she tested with her iodine to see whether it had starch, the starch was still present because they'd been picked early. And you think about how many... with bananas is classic, isn't it? The bananas are picked green and then shipped over, usually into Bristol, and then shipped wherever they go from there. But it does then... The same with oranges, they tend to get picked green and they ripen on their way.
Your peaches
and that sort of thing. And so it brings this whole thing about what actually is the food the nutritional content of actually what you're buying and what you've got on your plate. Because the fact is that few of us are in a position these days to be able to actually grow our own.
Although a herbalist that I went to, she said that we should only eat foods that based on where you're living, the country that you're born in as well.
Oh yes, that's
well, vegetables and cabbages during the winter.
That's right, seasonal.
Seasonal.
You go somewhere like Japan, and they don't import very much. I think they're still importing a bit of rice, but everything there is seasonal. But they celebrate it seasonally. So it's like some seasons you'll just get mountain potato and whatever, and that's it. You won't get them another season. But it's like the fruits and even the sweets that you can buy are seasonal. So it's like when we went over in May, it was mango season. So everything's mango. Mango coming out your ears. But then when that stops, it'll switch into something else, switch into grapes probably. And then when that stops, that switches into something else. Because they eat very seasonally.
Which is better for you.
Which is better for you, but they actually make a thing of it. So like how it's mango season now, or it's grape season now. And so people are aware that it's, and because everybody does it, because everybody does it. Yeah. So and it's yes, like you say now is apples.
Mm.
And I'm lucky. I've got a little cox tree at the bottom of the garden. At the moment, I'm literally picking them and eating. Oh, they're nice. They're nice. You know, I like them when they're fresh. I don't like them when they've been kept, and stored. But yes, and the other problem is that people have done measurements of what nutritional value was in the food in the 1950s and 60s, and what's in the food now. And it's something like 20% now of what it was in the 50s. And also, it's like, say, what's in the ground now. If you live here, and this really brought home to me some years ago when I was still running my clinic, I don't know whether this goes for the whole of Devon, but we don't have any selenium in the soil here. So the farmers, they have to put blocks out for their sheep and for they either have to treat the ground, or they have to put blocks out for the sheep and the pigs and everything to lick to get the extra mineral. Okay. So I saw one of the local farmers, he's down the valley a bit, keeps a lot of pigs further down towards Kenton. And there was stuff going on with him energetically wise and trying to work out what it was. And I was muscle testing him for his minerals. And he needed selenium. And I said to him, you know, you're a bit short of selenium. And selenium, like vitamin C, is an antioxidant. Very good mopper-upper of cells that are damaged. And he laughed and he said, I thought that I needed it myself. And I grow all my own veg. But he said, I grow all my own veg in the same land that my animals...
Yes, to supplement.
And he said, I supplement the animals with any salt, but not myself.
Wow.
And we roared with laughter about it. Because it's like he was doing everything right, but because the nature of the land, it's missing that mineral. And so, of course, this is the issues that you have when you've got governments giving you blanket information, is it's not localised enough. And also, you're not sure on what they're basing
It's too vague.
It's too vague.
It's not being tested properly.
And of course, it's well known that vitamins degrade with storage and with cooking. You know, and you can easily wreck the nicest food by overcooking it, boiling it to death, or doing something with it.
But bicarbonate.
That's what.
You were in the 50s.
I was going to say, I can remember my granddad doing stuff like that.
Or boiling Brussels sprouts if they've gone yellow.
Yeah.
That was a classic.
Yeah.
It's a family joke. In our family at Christmas, it's always that, you know, like Dad gets up quite early and it's like, Brussels sprouts are on.
Yeah. Oh,
First thing in the morning. They're not, but we just say it as a joke.
Yeah. It's that sort of thing. It's like just not even... Yeah.
Yuck.
Absolutely. Never thought of. And so your vitamins are going to fall very much into the category that most of them are going to be yellow guys. So all the vitamin B, all the vitamin Bs, vitamin D, of course, is called the sunlight vitamin. Vitamin E, of course, is yellow. You know, see it in that sort of thing. And a lot of the minor vitamins fall into the yellow. Vitamin C is an orange vibe, and you have one vitamin that's red. In fact, it's sometimes called the red vitamin, vitamin B12. Now, vitamin B12 is that one that if you have people who are not eating meat, so vegetarians or vegans, have got to be really, really careful that they get enough vitamin B12. Now, it's called the red vitamin because actually when it's extracted and it's on its own, it's little pink tablets. And in fact, if you look at there we go, it's probably here somewhere. Vitamin B. So you've got... No, it's just slightly pink actually. You can just see it. It's just slightly pink. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Slightly pink. Now, vitamin B12, if you don't have vitamin B12 enough, you're going to have problems, because it means that when stuff that's rich in iron goes through your stomach, okay, the stomach excretes, one of the main things it excretes in the chyme is brain's gone. Intrinsic, sorry, it went flying out the window. Intrinsic factor.
Right.
Right. There's one of the things that gets mixed in the stomach, so the protein gets mixed with intrinsic factor in the stomach. Now, if you haven't got B12 in the system, it means the iron doesn't get pulled out further down. So you're more likely to end up seriously anemic. If you don't.
It could be not a lack of iron, but a lack of
B12,
which is quite common actually.
which is quite common.
We elderly people sometimes have to have B12 injections. It's quite common.
Yeah, and it's very. I think it's one of those things that I think if I never was happy about suggesting to people individual vitamins, but of the B family, but B12 is an exception. Because normally, if I thought that people were lacking in one of the Bs, I'd tell them take B complex. It's much safer because it's a synergistic mix. No, it's a mix again. But B12 is like a different animal, and it's interesting. It's the only red Vit.
I know if I've had a stressful time, because it's hit and miss about how much B12 I get, I'll take it.
I think anything where there is an issue over that, you're not going to get your iron. And the bad cases of pernicious anemia are nearly always B12 related. Because actually, this iron, surprisingly, a lot of iron in what you eat. If you're eating what's called a normal diet, and you're not eating sort of like 100% processed foods. So, basically, the vitamins also are pretty sort of green energy too. Because, of course, obviously, a lot of green foods you're going to get, so that they're sort of yellowy green. Vitamin means needed for life. And that's basically. And the body does not function, it needs the lot. It does not function very well. I mean, one of the most common vitamins that are supplemented these days is vitamin C. And like we said, there's vitamin C and there's vitamin C. Now, you can get, I think the worst form of vitamin C is the fizzy vitamin C you can get. I can't remember the name of them now, but the ones that you go plink plink fizz.
Sterident.
Yeah, that's it. Because that is literally vitamin C. Its chemical name is ascorbic acid. Okay, and in its mineral form, for want of a better phrase of describing it, as ascorbic acid, it is very acid. And probably a little bit too acid for a lot of people.
Herbalist told me to always buy stuff with bioflavonoids.
Yeah. I see. What you need is what's called a buffered vitamin C. Now, buffered, a buffered vitamin C basically means that it's in a form that's not acid, that it's pH neutral. Yeah. In other words, that it's not going to throw your digestive system off one way or the other. Good vitamin C's. And I'll read it out to you if I can find it. Bilberry powder. Bilberry. Magnesium ascorbate, which means it's balanced. And bilberry is one of the plants that's got bioflavonoids in. Okay, so things like elderberry syrup.
I'm going on a wild foraging walk next week.
And get yourself some roses.
Yeah.
That's where you get your proper vitamin C from.
In the thing, she said, if you're using rose hips, fine, you boil them up and everything, but you must use muslin because they've got little tiny hairs on them, and it irritates the gut.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So,
yes,
so you can make your own little syrup.
You need to go and get some muslin nappies from Mothercare or something. Yeah. But yes, absolute. I mean, elderberry has been used because elderberry is all over Europe. It's been used. These northern European vitamin C winter standbys, and these are the
They
ones
make
that
fruit cordials.
are really rich in vitamin C. And of course, blackcurrant.
When we were kids, it was always rosehip
It was
syrup.
always rosehip syrup. Yeah. Del Rosa rosehip
Yeah.
syrup. Yes. Just oldies showing our age. And yeah, it was rosehip syrup, and for the children, it was orange juice, NHS orange juice, or whatever they used to call it then. Tastes effing awful, but it was fortified because for young children.
Some syrups taste foul.
Yeah, but
It's
yes,
really sick.
but it was because we're in the post-war era. They were very concerned that
I remember the orange juice.
that the
really-
children, because in utero the mothers would have been missing certain things, so the kids go on to actually missing certain things. And so-
Well, my own sister, they found out years later that she'd got a form of spina bifida, and it was because of poor diet.
Yeah, there's folic acid, isn't it? It's one of the
Yeah.
vitamin Bs. Yeah. Which actually, probably actually brings on to a good point, is there are certain agents where vitamin and mineral supplementation is really important. And there you've got one, pregnant mothers. Young children is another. Ariana's mentioned old folks. Old folks.
Old folks, yes.
Yeah, seniors
Yes.
is another one. Usually because the diet's not good enough. They are the classic times, and of course, if someone's not well, if someone's really chronically ill, are the times when even the government wouldn't turn their nose up and saying, actually, yes, these people need extra help.
Well, it says in that book often that if you're on job seekers allowance, you're entitled to, I think it's A, C and D vitamins.
Yeah.
You can actually get them free from the pharmacy.
And basically what those are, they are all three of them antioxidants. Vitamin A is interesting. When I worked for Johnson & Johnson many years ago, when I was we used to work in the research lab, we were making developing a cream that was used for healing skin sores, and I think they do use it now all the time. But vitamin A in a cream actually makes the skin renew itself a lot quicker. So if someone's got bed sores, then it actually makes a very good cream. But vitamin A is one of those that is really important for eyesight. So although it has that action on the skin, it's usually thought of as eyesight. But it's also it's another antioxidant. But interestingly, you won't get vitamin A as a tablet. You'll get it here. You see here, you've got basically beta carotene, which is when the body has that, it makes its own vitamin A. So it's called a precursor to vitamin A. So if somebody was low in vitamin A, it would beta carotene is what you would go after.
Because during the war, people that walk out, some people went blind because of poor nutrition.
Yeah, it was vitamin A, vitamin Bs. Yes, berry is very common, particularly people who have a rice-only diet, because it tends to be polished rice, and of course all the vitamins are in the thing that makes the husk. And of course, if that's taken away, then you actually become quite depleted. Yeah, so you find that's added. There are some vitamins as well, and when babies are first born, they're tested for vitamin ability to use vitamin K.
I think I was just jabbed automatically. I didn't even know they just did it automatically.
In hospitals these days, they give you your baby and the mother, is it, a vitamin K injection?
Usually just the baby.
My friend Susie.
But when I had mine, we weren't even told. They take the baby away and they just whack an injection.
They used to do a blood test on the heel usually.
What's it?
And then they test for it. To see. But yes, usually now, because actually it's a very nasty death if you, for some reason, you haven't got enough air in the system.
Hemorrhaging.
Yeah, it's horrible. Yeah. So they're very specific.
I don't know how common that is.
I don't know. It's very difficult to say because I think even if there was the the statistics on it, whether they'd actually tell you what those statistics were. I don't know. Because like you say, it's one of these things you don't, unless you had kids or you've read it, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't have a clue that it was going on.
No, it was only a herbalist that told me.
Oh, wasn't there? Yeah. But it's really, really interesting vitamin sort of setup. And of course, people, you are highly unlikely to come across people with too much of vitamin in their system unless they are taking too much. It's like vitamin C. If you take the right vitamin C, you can take mega doses to ward off colds and things, but you wouldn't keep going. And if you're taking mega doses of the Plink Plink Fizz vitamin C, then you'd have a very sore tummy. So it's one of the things that they tend to be very worried about. People that are credit courses like this is people who need to be able to spot, the overdose. But it's like one thing is you have to ask people what they're taking, because if they're only getting their stuff from food, they're unlikely to overdose.
Yeah.
But if they're taking supplements willy-nilly, you need to know.
And I've always said you need a holiday from taking supplements all the time.
Yes, you need to know what they are.
Some of the medication that people are on, they don't realise it depletes their bodies of minerals as well.
Unfortunately, that's one of the most common reasons why people get depleted. So it's like with my lady with the starch. The reason she's in the situation she is because she's had really heavy duty arthritic medication. Because it goes to the immune system, so it hits in at the yellow area big time. And of course what's happening is there's not enough of that within the system anymore. So it's hit the whole intelligence of the body so hard that it's just not doing what it should do. So you've got a list of vitamins on page 14, where I've actually given you, and I've given you the colour resonance as well. And you've got there what it's found in, what it does, and the signs of deficiency. I say the most obvious ones, I think, tend to be B12, obviously. Folic acid is well known that, if you don't have enough of that when you're pregnant, it's not good. Vitamin C, of course, not enough vitamin C, then you're more prone to infection.
They do say that kids got scurvy.
Scurvy, yeah. Vitamin D is a really good immune system supporter. I think most people this summer have been all right because the weather's been really good. Yeah. But in some summers we've had, it's been absolutely awful.
When my niece was born, it was a bad summer.
Yeah.
And all the babies that year, the Fontella didn't close over.
Yeah, that's because it's so bad.
Because it was so bad.
Yeah. I think some of the things that I've seen or experienced, a lack of vitamin B5 with achy and throbbing feet. I've had that twice in my life. And actually a couple of days of B5, and that sorted it out.
That's interesting.
But I think that these days very few people get short of the Bs, apart from potentially B12. I was given B6 many years ago by my doctor for PMT, and I must admit it did work a treat, but it's only a short term.
Well, looking at these, I wonder if I've got a B vitamin thing going on, because I get quite serious migraines fairly often.
Yeah.
And I have, in recent years, I've had quite not very happy period situation too. So
yeah.
Have you ever had any cranial work done?
Cranial sacral therapy, yeah, I have actually.
But it's a good thing, because the thing to do with bees is you soon find out whether it does the trick or not. You take it. What you don't use the body peas out immediately, because as you know, the pea goes bright yellow. So the chance you can't OD on vitamin B, because the body just chucks it.
Yeah.
But it's usually it's usually worth a go. What I would tend to say to somebody is go and get the best B complex you can get your mitts on. And in fact, one of the drawbacks with people like with Lambert's is that some of their tablets are actual tablets. As a supplement, people, if you look at their Bs here, and they've got, they're actual BioCare, who are based in Birmingham. Their stuff is actually, a lot of it is capsules, which are much better because you've got the choice then of even taking the stuff out of the capsule if you don't want the same as the capsule. And because if you've got a weak digestive system, taking horse tablets that big ain't going to get you anywhere because they're going to come out the other end. And apparently it's one of the classics, Centrum vitamins you can buy. If you talk to somebody who does those Portaloos, there's those sort of tablets come through completely.
Really? That's fascinating.
So it's all the more reason that if you can find what you need in a capsule form, then more easily digestible. Or if you end up with horse tablets, then you crush them up. It's and it's worth bearing that in mind. If the little tiddlies like the B12, you're probably okay.
I think, like you said, I could do with a bit of a B vitamin pot.
Yeah. I do still buy from both of these, but mostly for sign-up for me. The sort of thing I use Lambert's for is they do a very good high-potency zinc, which we'll come on to these minerals in a minute. And they do peppermint oil capsules, which are very, very good for indigestion. And their fish oils and things are very good. But things like vitamin C and B and some of the others, these guys are good because it's in capsule form. Because usually you're dealing with people whose digestion's got
compromised.
full on, so it tends to be a bit of a whatever.